Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody out there. Welcome back to another season of Los Compadres podcast with your boys, Jay, Cesar, and Marcos.
So what you been up to, Cesar?
Me?
Catch
I've
me up
been,
on your life, bro. Your interesting life.
So we haven't recorded since the last upload was October 5th, right? Yeah. You were busy. So
yeah, work was hectic as fuck.
Yeah,
both jobs.
So we couldn't really get anything going where your schedule would meet. Well, my schedule was always the same.
Yeah.
But you and Prada couldn't get on the same schedule.
Yeah.
So, and plus, like you needed your sleep.
Yeah.
So we kind of took a break it
was like a 2-week break.
Season break.
No, it's actually it was almost a month.
No, it was like a 2-week.
It was like a 2-week break.
It was like a 2-week break.
Yeah. We were gonna record again. I remember we were gonna record again, but then I got sick. So
okay,
and then we were gonna record, but then the whole closet thing happened too.
Yeah,
remember they had to fix the closet. So, I ended up getting sick. I ended up catching the Rona.
The Rona.
Yeah. So it all started October 28th. I felt like a tickle in my throat. Start with a cough.
Sorry. I heard him say it, and I immediately closed my eyes. I'm like, Jay's gonna do something stupid.
Usually I'm not. Usually I'm not open about this stuff, but I want to tell a story because I want to make sure everybody who listens to this knows that it's real.
Yeah.
It can affect you in very dangerous ways.
Yeah.
And that just take care of yourself.
Yeah,
just make sure you absolutely take care of yourself because, even now, I've been home for what's today, the 13th. I've been home for 2 weeks and I'm still, recovering. Right now, a little short breath.
Yeah.
Been talking for
close
to probably about 30 minutes.
We're at 40 minutes right now.
40 minutes. But I do want to tell the story just because it's very real and everybody should take care of themselves, and
be cautious.
Be very, very cautious. And people don't believe it till it happens to them.
Absolutely. Or
a close one. So October 28th, got a tickle in my throat. The next day my dad left to Mexico, and I started to get kind of sickish, and I just thought it was a cold. I beat a cold in a weekend, doesn't bother me, right? Because I didn't have any of these symptoms, at all. It was just a cough. But Friday night, I lost my voice. I couldn't talk, and I had a fever, and the whole weekend Charity spent trying to break my fever, and I had a massive migraine, just massive. So Sunday night, I head to the hospital because I can't break this fever and this migraine. It's I feel like I'm about to have an aneurysm, right? And so what ends up happening is I get an IV. It breaks the fever, it breaks the migraine, and I come back home and I think I'm good, right? So Monday morning, Charity goes to work, right?
Wait, they didn't test you at the hospital?
Huh?
They didn't test you for COVID at the hospital?
No.
The first time?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because I didn't really have a cough at that point anymore.
But they usually anytime there's any of the symptoms, because fever is one of them. They they usually test.
They didn't test me.
That's all. That's all I was asking because that's weird.
Yeah.
Because even people now they go for the flu or the cold, and if they have any symptoms shivers, body
they
fever,
did test me for the flu. They did test me for the flu.
They would test you for the flu, but not for the
not for COVID.
That's cool.
Right. Because I don't know why they didn't.
That makes no sense.
Yeah. But they did test me for the flu.
Okay.
So they gave me an IV, and I was good. I slept well that night. The next morning I woke up and I was coughing up blood. I freaked out. I called Charity, and she's like, go back to the hospital. Go to the hospital. I'll tell them I'm coughing up blood. That's when they give me the COVID test.
Okay.
Right. And they gave me some medicine and some prescriptions. So there's a pharmacy in the hospital. Go to the pharmacy, get the prescriptions filled, go home. Well, actually, they were trying to keep me there, but I was like, I freaked out, and I was like, no, like I'm gonna go home. They had me like on an ECG and stuff.
Yeah.
And my saturation levels were still fine. So there's a couple things I guess you should know. First thing is saturation levels. A saturation level is basically how much oxygen is in your blood, right? The normal amount is anywhere between 95 and 99%.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first thing. If there's another one that I can think of, I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
My saturation levels were fine. I wasn't hard of breathing. It's just I was coughing up blood.
Yeah.
Right. So what ended up happening was I freaked out, and I was like, they were like, you can stay or you can go. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go. Right. Because also I had to pee. And when I peed, they handed me like a urinal thing, like a little, like pretty much like a cup thing.
Yeah.
They made me pee in
into the cup. Yeah.
They were like, pee in this thing. And I was like, okay, that's weird. They didn't do anything with it. They just threw it away. But
no, they test it.
No, they didn't test it.
They didn't test it?
No, because it was just like a urinal. Like that's like they're called urinals. It's a little plastic container.
Oh, okay.
That you pee in. And that's gonna be a big part of the story. But basically, like I had to pee. They wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. They made me pee into that.
Yeah.
So I was coughing up blood. They gave me some medication. I had like one of those virtual appointments with a doctor from the school district, right? To see, and she prescribed me like a bunch of shit. She ended up prescribing me like 8 things, right? So in total, I was taking like these 8 medications, and I was only able to take them for one day because the next day I woke up short of breath.
Yeah.
So I was really short of breath, and I couldn't sleep. So I had gone 24 hours without sleeping, right? And this was Monday to Tuesday. So Tuesday night, like I start having like a coughing fit again, and like my fingernails start turning purple, my lips start turning purple, like my saturation was really low. Like Charity put the blood oximeter on me, and my saturation levels were down like 78.
Damn.
So she's like, I have to take you to the hospital. So she takes me to the hospital. They check me in. They check me out. The doctor's like, this is your 3rd time here. He said, we're going to put you in just a regular room, and we're going to put you on oxygen, right? We're going to see if that helps. And it did for a while, but I could only saturate as high as 92, right? With oxygen. 6 liters. And the full amount is 6 liters, right? So at that point, I was like, okay, I'll probably be here overnight. And I was able to sleep. But when I would sleep, my saturation would drop down to like the 80s, and it would beep. So they had to move me into what's known as a personal care unit, right? So a personal care unit is the same thing as like an ICU, except the ICU is one-on-one. You have like you're one-on-one with the nurses. Personal care unit, they have more patients, but you still get more like nurse time.
Yeah.
Right? So the nurses check in on you more frequently. And there they had to put me on 60 liters of oxygen.
Shit.
So I was on 60 liters of oxygen, and I was still only saturating at like 93%.
Damn.
So I was getting worse and worse. And I was like that for about 2 weeks. I was in that like personal care unit until they had to move me into an ICU, where they put me, I had to get more nurse attention, and they gave me more stuff around the clock. Well, they also gave me an experimental like treatment that like 5 out of 6 people would get better. It just so happened I was that sixth person.
Yeah.
You know?
Unfortunately.
So I didn't get any better. So what happened was my saturation kept dropping. Eventually I could only saturate at 89. Right? So my blood oxygen was 89. I would get winded, just moving literally from here where Marcos is, which is where my couch was and my bed was. I would get winded.
Yeah.
Just going from there to there. And standing up too, like just standing up would like make me feel really winded. And so So the doctor finally said, he's like, we have to put you on a ventilator. And I was scared because I had heard like horror stories of like people going on ventilators.
Yeah.
And like their lungs start to depend on the ventilator.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so a lot of people don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I go on a ventilator, I told him, I was like, I'm probably going to die. And he's like, if you don't go on a ventilator, you're absolutely going to die. And so I was like, what are my chances of living if I go on the ventilator? He's like, a lot higher if you don't. And I was like, okay, like, I guess fine. Like, let's do the ventilator.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just remember calling Charity and telling her, it's like, hey, they're going to put me on a ventilator. I love you. You know, I'll talk to you after the the surgery, right? Because when they push you on a ventilator, they have to cut a hole in your throat to feed air directly into your lungs. Mm-hmm. So it bypasses like your mouth and your nose, and it goes straight into your lungs.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you're talking about. I just want to point this out just in case whoever's listening. And this is all happening while you're alone.
I'm
absolutely
alone.
There's no charity in it.
There's so that's the thing. They wouldn't allow anyone in the room because I had tested positive for COVID. Mm-hmm. They let Charity come twice. And she was all geared up, and we had to be 6 feet apart. Mm-hmm. Which, because she was all geared up, like the nurses didn't care. Mm-hmm. So I actually got to sit next to her. But the first time I saw her, I remember crying.
Yeah,
because it had been like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
since I'd seen anyone.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot, bro. I mean, being alone for that long.
Absolutely.
You're stuck in a room.
Yeah, with random people, and your nurses change every 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I never got the same nurse twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So every day they would ask me. Every day I would wake up, they're like, what's your name? What's your date of birth? Do you know where you are? And every day I'd answer, Cesar Martinez, 92394, Lakeland Regional Hospital.
Yeah.
Right. And so what ended up happening was my cousin, I have a cousin who works for Lakeland Regional, and he's a respiratory nurse. Mm-hmm. And he's the one who noticed that things were getting worse and worse and worse. And so he called my mom and he explained to her like what the numbers mean and what she needed to ask and things like that. Mm-hmm. And that's how my mom would get information. One of my cousins would translate. Cherry would be on the call, and that's how they would know I was getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And that pretty much my lungs were giving out.
Yeah.
And so then I just remember, like I said, Cherry was able to visit me twice while I was in the PCU, once in the PCU and once in the ICU.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like that was it. No, like I wasn't allowed any visitors after that. After that, when they put me under, like they sedated me to put the ventilator in, I went into critical condition. Like my saturation level was down to like a 32. So my lungs were giving out. Mm-hmm. So I had to be flown to Orlando, right? So I took a helicopter ride all the way over to Orlando, right? And I was sedated for the whole thing. And I spent about a month sedated because they put me on a ventilator, I think like on the 18th or the 19th of November. And I didn't wake up until the 16th. Like they said I woke up in between, but I don't remember any of it. Right? Course. So I was sedated for about a month. And when I woke up, they still weren't allowing visitors. But I couldn't talk, right? I mean, I was like, I had a feeding tube. I had, the ventilator in my neck, like I had a trach put in. Mm-hmm. A trach is a thing that hooks up to the ventilator that allows oxygen in, right? And then I also had what's known as an ECMO machine. So what this ECMO machine does is that it pulls blood from your body, right? And like it's these big tubes, like they're inch tubes, and they're always full. And it puts blood with like it puts oxygen into the blood, and it puts it back into your body.
Yeah,
right.
So it circulates it kind of.
Yeah, so it's cycling your blood.
Yeah,
through your body.
It's doing the oxygen's job with the blood.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
But externally.
Yeah.
So the ECMO machine was working, right? I was getting better and better and better, but I couldn't move while I was sedated. They wouldn't let me move. So anytime I would move, like the machine would beep. So they literally had me strapped to the bed for a month, right? So for a whole month, I'm sitting in the same position, strapped to a bed, can't move, and I'm sedated. That's the other thing. Like I'm sedated. And so what happened was I was in a like super like ICU room where there was a nurse by me at all times, just in case something happened. And then when I got a little bit better, they moved me to just the regular ICU.
Yeah.
We're still 1-on-1, but the nurse checks up on you like every 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I don't remember this, but like this is what they were telling me is that like, you know, I would wake up and I would start to like pull tubes out and stuff, and I would freak out, and like I didn't know where I was or anything. And I remember waking up and the nurse asking me like, "Do you know where you are, and what your name is and your date of birth?" Right? And I was like, "Well, my name is Cesar Martinez." And this had to, I remember this vividly because I remember I asked Charity, I was like, "Why am I in Orlando?" So I could still text. So this was early on, like the first time they tried to wake me up. And then I guess I did something and they had to sedate me again. Right? So basically, I remember texting Charity, like, "What happened? Why am I in Orlando?" And she's like, "You were in critical condition. They had to move you," things like that. Like when the nurse told me I was in Orlando, I was like, I was literally in Lakeland yesterday.
Yeah.
She's like, you've been here for like 2 weeks, you know? And we were texting. I was doing all this like on my phone, like, like, cause I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
So I was doing all of this on my phone. She's like, "You've been here for 2 weeks." And I was like, "What?" You know, like I was so confused.
Yeah.
And I think that's what caused me to panic. And when I panicked, like they had to put me back under because my heart rate like just elevated. Like, went up really high. So they sedated me again, right? And every time they would try to wake me up, I would make what they would call non-positive movements. So like trying to pull something out. So I had mitts on for like a month, you know, mitts on my hands, and I had these things on my forearms to keep my arms straight, right? So again, I didn't move from this position that I was in for a month. And so I finally wake up, and they're allowing visitors now because I tested negative for COVID 3 times already, right? So Charity comes, you know, and like everything goes away. Like my anxiety goes away. I start feeling better. She fills me in on what's going on. She's like, "It's all okay." And every day I ask the doctors, "When can I go home? When can I go home?
Yeah.
When can I go home?" And they all say, "We don't know. You know, you have to get better. It's like you can't leave right now. It's like if you leave right now, you'll die." And so I'm asking the doctors this every single day, right? And I'm texting Charity. I'm like, "You got to get me out of here. Like I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
Like I'm so alone. Even when my parents were there, I felt alone and like very vulnerable. And what happened was I ended up developing anxiety and getting panic attacks from being at the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never had anxiety or panic attacks.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. I've never been an anxious person. Which, by the way, all went away as soon as I got out. As soon as I got home. Like, I've not had any anxiety or anything.
Yeah, not for you.
So I think it's just...
I mean, that situation, being in that environment.
Yeah.
What you went through.
Yeah. So...
Kind of being like
So
not know what's going on.
Yeah. So when I landed in Orlando, I was like purple from the lack of like oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like really, really like, I made it to Orlando, you know, but I was
You're
like,
talking about the helicopter, right?
yeah, I made it to Orlando, but I was purple, and I looked like, I guess I looked really horrible because after I woke up, the nurses kept commenting on how like good I looked, like how strong I looked and stuff, because like they all saw me when I was like literally
Right there.
dying, you know, versus when like I woke up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I had woken up, like when they kept saying that, I didn't understand what they meant.
Yeah.
But later it clicked that it's like, oh, you guys saw me when I was like in my most critical condition versus like now. And to make things worse, I got a bacterial infection. I became septic. I had sepsis, you know? So they had to keep me God, what's the word? They had to keep me under, you know, sedated for longer because of that as well. So
damn, bro.
Basically after that, they they checked my saturation levels. They got me off the ventilator in about a week. After waking up, it was a week. I was finally off the ventilator. Right. I got off the ECMO first. I'm sorry. In a week, I got off the ECMO. It took another week, but I got off the ventilator. Then they moved me to a PCU unit, where they had to put a chest tube in because I had a pocket of air in my lung that I don't know if it's resolved yet. When I left the hospital, I hadn't resolved, but they had a chest tube in, and it hurt so bad, that chest tube, that they had me like on Percocets, like around the clock. Every 4 hours, like they would give me a Percocet, like just for the pain because of the chest tube. Like this chest tube, like just moving it would hurt like, so bad. And at the end of it, I had it for 12 days and it did nothing. Like it didn't do anything for me.
Damn.
It didn't get rid of the pocket or anything. And so once I was in the PCU, like things were looking a lot better. The nurses were like, you're close to getting out and things like that. And I finally got out Christmas or New Year's Eve was when I got home.
I remember that.
But because I was strapped to like pretty much to a bed for 2 months, I didn't realize that when you don't move for that long, like you lose a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
So the first time I sat up, I fell to the side. Like I couldn't sit up, you know? And then so physical therapists came in to try to help me to walk, right? And then the first time I stood up, like I literally like I couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't keep my balance. I was leaning side to side, things like that. And they were just happy that I could stand up. They were like, not a lot of people can stand up. And then they made me hold on to like a walker. And they're like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel good. Right? Mind you, I still have like a bunch of tubes strapped to me and stuff. And so I was like, oh, I feel good. And they were like, well, that's enough for today. Right? Because I would see people walking and I was like, I want to walk. Like, I want to go for a walk. I want to do something. Like, I want to get out of this bed. But the only place I was allowed to go was to a chair. And the only way that they would move me from the bed to the chair was with this like little lift thing that was on the ceiling that they would like strap. They would put basically like a sheet under me with hooks on it, and they would hook it up to this like lift thing, and the thing would lift me from the chair to the bed.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like I couldn't I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. So those were the only two places I was really allowed to go, and I was confined to my room.
Yeah.
Right? So like that gave me even more anxiety because I was like, am I not going to be able to walk after this? Right? So finally when it was time for me to walk, the doctor comes in and he's like, focus real hard on wiggling your big toe. And I was like, focus? Like, what do you mean? You know, I was thinking that. I still couldn't talk. Right? But I was like, I moved my big toe, and he touches my foot with like a pen. He's like, "Can you feel that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You know, I nod up and down, and he's like, "Can you lift your leg?" And I lift my leg. Like, "Can you lift your other leg?" And I lift my other leg. And they were surprised at like how much movement I could do. Like I could move from side to side, because like anytime that I needed to be cleaned or anytime they needed to change my sheets, the nurses would either put me on the couch or they would have me like get on my side, right? Mm-hmm. Well, being on my side really hurt because of all like the stuff that I had on me.
Yeah.
You know? So I would be on my side for as long as I could be, and then I'd move to the other side for as long as I could, and then they would finish changing my sheets out or whatever they needed to change out. Mm-hmm. And then like they were surprised that I could move on my own and they didn't need someone to like pull me or hold me or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So when I started to walk the first day, like the whole unit was something like 750 feet, you know?
Square feet?
Square, like the whole unit, like basically a lap around the unit was the same thing as like doing like a lap around a like high school track.
Okay.
You know? So the first time I went for a walk, like I actually was able to walk because I didn't have a bunch of shit strapped to me.
Yeah.
I made it down from basically like my room was right in the middle to like one end of the track.
Yeah.
And back because I was like super tired. The second time I was able to do a full lap. The third time I could do 2 laps, and I just kept like pushing and trying to do better and that's why I didn't send me home on oxygen, because I was literally walking a mile pretty much by the time I got out.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of changed when I got home. When I got home, like I didn't realize like how much the walker was helping me, because I stopped using the walker when I got home.
Yeah.
So I'd get winded just walking from like the couch to the door, you know? Mm. But what ended up happening was they took the trach out, right? And it's still like scarring up, you know? Mm-hmm. I still have like a scab and stuff.
Yeah.
It looked gross. Honestly, at one point it looked like I had a vagina on my neck.
Stop.
No, like I'm serious. Like it looked disgusting. That's why I always kept the patch on it.
Just got to finger a little bit, bro.
Stop.
I know, but that ass, like you could see like my windpipe.
All right, Jay.
You could see my windpipe and stuff, right?
Damn.
Like it was open when they took it out, and they put a patch on it, just like a hydro patch. Mm-hmm. And the doctor said it would seal up in about like a week, and it did. It sealed up in a week, but it's still like just scabbing over.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to fully scar to take the thing out.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, dude, it was crazy. Like I had a hole in my neck.
Yeah.
And anytime that the hole was uncovered, I couldn't talk. So they had to have the patch on, and I had to push down on the patch to be able to talk.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like a couple steps in between that before they took it out. But when they took it out, like I thought it was gonna hurt. Didn't hurt. You know, wasn't worried. Like I was like kind of freaking out because I was like, this might hurt.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt. Luckily, it just came right out. But I did. Whatchamacallit? I kept it, like the trach. Like I have it. It's somewhere in there. It's just like as like memories. Like you know, I went through this and I lived it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, like it literally looked like I had like a vagina in my throat, dude. Like no joke. Like even like I told Charity, I'm like, this looks like a vagina, and she just started laughing. She's like, it kind of does. She was like, it kind of does. And I was like,
what you doing after?
It's sealed already.
Talk about
bro.
Me being nasty.
You're too late. Bro. You're too late. It's sealed already.
Yeah, but you said finger a little bit.
Yeah. So it looked disgusting. So you know, I kept the patch on it. I mean, if I was on video or anything for it, like I'd probably have to censor it. You know.
Yeah, FCC gonna censor that.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, man.
That's crazy, bro.
That's pretty much it. Like after that, after the PCU, they took the chest tube out. That was the worst pain out of everything. Like I had a nurse dry shave me. You know, I had them put they had sutures in my IVs and stuff. Like they had they pulled a catheter out, things like that. Because I was since I was sedated, they had a catheter.
Yeah, you know,
had a catheter in. The worst pain was absolutely
the chest
them pulling the chest tube out. That hurt the fucking most, dude. I almost swung on that nurse because she's like, okay, she's like, do you want to do a practice round? She's like, you're gonna hold your breath, right? You're gonna exhale, right? And she's like, I just want you to hold your breath, and on 3, I'm gonna pull, right? And I was like, bet, right? She's like, you want to do a practice round? You want me to pull it? I was like, just pull the motherfucker, right? And she's like, okay, ready? And I was like, yeah. I was like, wait, it has sutures. And she's like, she's like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, are you blind? Like, yes, it does. So she pulls on it, right? Like she tugs on it, and she tugs on a suture. And I'm like, it has sutures. Like I yell at her, I'm like, it has. She's like, oh, you're right, okay. So she grabs like a thing, she cuts the sutures and stuff, and she's like, okay, ready? And she's like, 1, 2, and she fucking yanks it. She doesn't even get to 3. She yanks it on 2, and I almost swung on her, bro. Like I was like so fucking.
Bro, it sounds so painful.
But no, dude, there's some nurses who shouldn't be nurses, bro. Like they don't have the bedside manner, like at all. Like,
yeah.
This guy dry shaved me, like just water. That was it. No shaving cream or anything. And I asked later, I was like, when you guys shave patients, do you have like is there shaving cream? And it's like, yeah, we have shaving cream. You like it's included. Like there you could get it. Like like it's part of our kits.
Yeah.
And so this motherfucker just dry shaved me because he wanted to dry shave me.
Yeah.
And I think he was mad because my back was hurting really bad. Like I thought I had bed sores.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat up, and when I sat up, it pulled the nose tube out, right? And I had nose tubes because one of the tubes was for feeding and the other one was for getting rid of like bile and waste from my stomach.
Yeah.
Right? So I sat up because my back really hurt, and it pulled on the tube, and it pulled the tube halfway out, and I was in a lot of pain, and I hit the button, and he wasn't coming because it turned out he was on lunch at the time, and whoever he left like to watch after me, because they're supposed to like say there's supposed to be a nurse on me at all times.
Yeah,
wasn't coming, and so I was in a lot of pain for like 10 minutes. So I was like, "Fuck it!" So I pulled out the tube, and when he came back, he's like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" And so he puts the tube back in, and like, dude, him putting the tube back in is like, the pain was it was not bearable, dude. Like I was in such pain when he was putting it in, and he just did not care,
Yeah.
And I was like, it took 3 nurses to hold me down because I legit was about to punch that man.
Yeah.
Like I was about to swing on him because he just didn't give a fuck. Like he just held me down. He tried to put it in, and he's like, "You shouldn't have pulled it out." And I was like, "You should have fucking been here." But I couldn't say that because I couldn't talk. But like he was pissed that he had to put the fucking nose tube back in,
Yeah.
And that was that same nurse. I had him a second time. The second time I was on the chair, and my legs were numb from being straight up.
Mm-hmm.
So I put him off
straight up.
Yeah. So I put him off to the side, right? So that they were like pretty much touching the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes and he like kicks my leg up onto the thing, like back onto it. And I'm just like, I was like, what the hell was that? And I like, he was like the worst nurse I've had the whole time. But there was this other nurse who, like, I asked her, I was like, how much longer do you think I'd be here? And this was like 2 weeks before I got out. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, your condition, she's like, could be another 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck, like, I didn't want to hear that, like, lie to me. Tell me another 2 weeks,
Yeah.
like, I'd rather be disappointed. I'd rather be disappointed, you know?
Yeah.
Like lie to me. I get it. She was doing her job and stuff like that. But then I had this other nurse who I guess couldn't find childcare and let her son come into my room and hook up his PlayStation to my TV while I was asleep. And she just, like, he was in my room middle of the night just playing PlayStation. And I remember waking up because I heard, you know, I heard like the PlayStation thing going on.
Yeah.
And I wake up and this man is just playing Call of Duty, like, on the TV. And I was just like, oh, I guess it's better than whatever's on TV.
Hey, what's your Twitch, bro?
For real. But like, she brought her son and I mean, she sat beside me the whole night because her son was in my room.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know. He shouldn't be here because at that point I hadn't tested negative for COVID.
Got you.
You know? So I was like, I don't know if he should be in here.
Yeah.
You're all geared up, and he wasn't geared up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He was just kind of chilling.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Damn.
But, yeah.
Nah, man, that's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that whole experience from the outside was
Terrifying.
scary, bro, because, you know, obviously, like, we're close and, you know, we're brothers and everything, and at least that's how I see it. But there wasn't, like, you know, obviously Charity has a lot going on, and she would update us, but obviously it's not as much updates as you want as a person. When you love someone, you want those updates, like, you know, like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it wasn't like that because there was just so many forms. You had to go through Charity, you had to go through, like, Charity had to find out through the hospital. So it was just a lot of, like, inconvenience.
Well, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it wasn't like even like that. Like, you guys would have to go through Charity. Charity would have to go through my cousin,
And then go to the hospital.
who had to go through the hospital.
Yeah, so it was just like, it was a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of, like, unknown of what the hell's going on, you know?
Exactly.
Or, like, why this is happening, why that's not happening.
Yeah.
But as long as, like, you know, as long as, I think they still felt like as long as Charity's getting her updates and she's, you know, being okay for the most part, then we're good. Because that means that you're at least good, you know?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anything, like, bad against that. I'm just saying, like, as a person you love someone, you want to hear, like, you want to know everything, you know,
right,
on the daily.
Yeah.
But it was scary, man. Like, especially that night when you went to Orlando, and it was like, oh, he's in critical condition. I was just like, bro, like, what the fuck? And I've never personally have, like, dealt with death or anything like that, or someone being that close, you know. And that was, or at least someone that I love that close, you know.
Yeah.
So that was just like, it was scary, man. It was something I've never felt before, and yeah, it was just a scary time.
Yeah, dude, I had anxiety the whole time. Psychiatrist came in to see me one of the last couple of days I was there, about, you know, if I needed counseling or anything, and I was like, I think I'll be good, like, as soon as I get out, but I still have nightmares about it, bro.
I bet, bro.
Like, I like, the first couple of nights were rough because I kept thinking I was gonna wake up at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't believe I was home,
and
like, Charity had to keep waking me up. Like, I was having night terrors. She's like, "Hey, you're home. Like, it's okay." And, like, because of that, like, I didn't want to sleep, so my sleep schedule was, like, super fucked up. Like,
yeah,
I didn't go to sleep till like 5 o'clock last night.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, dude, it was an experience. You know, COVID is real.
Facts.
I have bitch lungs, so you know, hopefully the rest of you don't.
Yeah.
You know, if you get it, I know. So a lot of people who did get it, who were able to beat it at home.
Yeah.
My whole family, my mom, dad, Zeke, and Yudi all had it, and they were able to beat it at home.
Yeah. A couple of our friends.
Yeah, but it's real and it's a bitch. You know, especially if you have bitch lungs like I do. You know, I don't know how, maybe it was me being overweight. Maybe it was part of the bronchitis that I had or something. I don't know, but I got the worst of it.
Yeah.
And I survived it.
Well, you got the worst of it, but you didn't get the actual worst of it because you're still here.
Yeah.
Facts.
Let's look at that as a more high ground here.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't make it.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing that made me feel bad was that, I did 2 months. I was in there for 2 months. But the thing was, there was a guy there about my age too. And I don't know if he's out yet, but he's been there. The nurse told me he had been there since June.
That's a long time.
He spent half of his 2020 in the hospital.
That's a long time.
COVID, and he was in the ICU with me. And even when I got moved to the PCU, he didn't get moved to the PCU till a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was walking without oxygen, he was still walking with oxygen.
Yeah.
So,
no, man, and
I can't imagine what he's going through, man.
And even us, like, for example, like us three, this whole entire time, 2020, we've been very vocal about it on the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been very like,
take care of yourself,
and everything, and we believe in it. We like, do everything that we can in our power to stay,
And we always say like how we don't understand how little people value other people's lives and things like that.
And even to the point of like me and Marco is like, we believe in all that stuff and everything, and you as well. But when everything was happening with you, it's just like there was even things that opened our eyes to it even further, like you being alone, like how lonely you actually are while you're in the hospital.
Yeah,
and how much that can take a toll on you, and like honestly, like it's only maybe 1%, but you just don't know if you could be that 1%.
Well, exactly. Not even that. It's not 1% that gets hospitalized. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's only 1% mortality rate," but that doesn't counter that the people that get it, what they have to go through, right? Exactly. It's not just a mortality rate. Just imagine how many people now have PTSD for hospitals.
Yeah,
like let's be honest, Cesar. You're not gonna go to a hospital next time and be all fine and dandy, like mentally. You're probably gonna like have a lot of anxiety in the hospital. Could be something so minor, but you're still gonna have a lot of anxiety, and it sucks, like it's frustrating to see that people just see it as a 1% mortality, but not a how many people go through this.
You don't think
and
how
even
it
like
affects
the recovery time, like for example, you said 2 weeks, and you're still and it's gonna be a little bit further too, unfortunately, but even recovery time takes a while as well.
Even in my family, my dad got it, and he was in the hospital for 6 days. Every night was an anxiety attack. Yeah. Every night.
That's how it was for me.
And right now he's at home on a machine that provides him oxygen.
Yeah.
You know, like it's gonna be 2 weeks before he gets out of that machine, but like, he's gonna be fine. But there's no need for him to go through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad 6 days is a long time. But
there's not a day that I didn't think about the worst.
Yeah, and 6 days is a very, very long time. Like in hospital time, like it's an eternity because you're all alone. There's nothing to do. You can, your dad isn't a gamer, so it's not like you could like give him a Switch and say
and call it a day.
You're stuck watching the same like 4 channels. You're confined to a bed. You're confined to a bed, and just when you're that low on oxygen, just getting up to use the bathroom, like the first couple of times I used the bathroom, like I had to tell Charity to pump up the oxygen, and I didn't need the oxygen, but it was just the anxiety of me remembering like trying to use the bathroom at Lakeland and just my fingernails turning purple.
Yeah.
And every night before, like I couldn't sleep, and I would have to ask the nurse if they could give me something for anxiety. I was like, I never knew what anxiety was. I never had anxiety. And the moments that I think I did feel anxious were nothing compared to like this thing. And it's not just something that affected me, it affected everybody around me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Even our coworkers of yours.
Yeah, like even people that, like a lot of people were asking about you, bro. Like a lot of people were asking about you. And I'm telling you, man, that even that night when like the worst night of all the nights, like, bro, it sucked, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first one to get that phone call from Charity.
Yeah.
She called me and she's like, "Hey, this is going on. This is what happened. You can let everybody know." And she was broken. Like she was broken. And I hang up the phone. I took a moment And I went up to my mom and I'm like, I don't know how to tell him this. I don't know how to tell any of these guys this. And like I started crying, and like she came up to me and like she said a prayer. She's like, you have to be strong, right? Like you have to let these people know. Like it's your duty now to tell everybody. You know, like she this is as much as it sucks. Like you have to tell them. And so I got on the phone. I think I called Jason first, and I was like, hang on. And I called Fabi and merged the calls. I'm like, hang on. Called Noel, merged the calls. I'm like, hang on. And I was like, look, this is what just happened. This is what I just heard. And there was this brief moment of nothing. Like everybody was trying to process the information, right? And it's a call that I'd never want to do again. And as much as you're here right now, and as much as like everything's getting better, it's a call I never want to do again. So
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy, man. That night, like, I went to because I still went to work that night. I don't know how the fuck I still went to work, but I went to work that night, and like the whole time in the drive-thru, I was just like, bro, like, it's some bullshit.
yeah,
and like I just didn't like. All I wanted was just to like be there and be like, yo, like,
we got
what's
this.
up? Like, you know, like, what's up? What's going on? And even like beyond that, like you being alone for those like 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks, I was like, damn, bro, I wish I could be there for my boy. Like, I want to be there for my boy. Like, this sucks that I can't visit him and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Because I feel like if I could, I would have been there, like, you know, when I wasn't working or whatever. So I was just like, even that, like, you can't even be there for a loved one. And it's like, damn, bro.
Yeah. And it's so depressing that, like, you don't even really want to, like, I would get text messages. This was when I could still, like, text and stuff. And I didn't want to reply to anyone. Like, I was just so depressed. I was like, I couldn't talk. Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone, you know?
Yeah.
It felt so shitty. I was like, damn, like, you know, I didn't know what to do. But I will say this, man, like, the people who checked up on me, you know, out of everybody that checked up on me, the most surprised was, it was Jeff. Surprised me the most, you know? He always kept encouraging me. He checked in on me a lot. And when I woke up, I had a lot of text messages from him, you know? And it was always just encouraging, like, you got this, you could do it, you're going to get stronger. Like, you know, every message that man sent me was just straight encouragement. Like, if anybody could beat it, it's you. And, you know, I told him, I was like, thank you, Jeff. And when I got at home, I didn't text him. You know, I didn't let him know, but he's like, I heard you made it home. And he even, like, messaged me that. And so, like, I was surprised. I was surprised that he was that invested in, you know, what was going on, especially since I haven't, you know, seen him or spoken to him in, what, 4 years?
Yeah,
4 years. And so, you know, it meant a lot to me that, like, someone who has been out of my life for that long was still, like, in my corner.
Yeah.
You know? And so...
Not a day went by that he didn't ask me for an update.
You know, another person did that too, Angie. Yeah. Well, I know she texted you personally, but at least from me, she was always like messaging and always like she sent me like old videos of like us at work and stuff. Yeah, like back in the day, 2015, 2016 stuff. Yeah, and even some Davenport days, and I was just like, damn, good times. Good times.
Yeah,
but she was always checking up too.
Yeah, Nelson too. Well, with Nelson was a little different because he was already out.
Yeah,
he was on doing because for the mental health, you do this first before you hit boot camp. There's like this, I think it's like a month and a half, which is he was leaving the Tuesday after everything that happened. Because I told Leslie and she told Liz and by default told Nelson. So he calls me like, look, like I'm not gonna be able to like respond or like text or anything but I will see my phone every so often. So any updates, just let me know. And like once I get to it, I'll respond. And so, I would just update him, and there'll be days where he'll respond to me and stuff like that. So,
yeah. I got a lot of encouraging messages from a lot of people. My kids like all sent me cards and stuff.
Oh,
like,
for real?
Yeah, they all made me cards, like get well soon cards and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
You know, some of them were nice and some of them
Fuck you, Miss Martinez.
No, they were all nice. They were all nice. No, like I miss my students.
That's what you get for giving me an F on my test.
You earned it, bitch. I didn't give it to you. You earned it. Oh man, but no, like dude, it was an experience, and I'm just like I had so many people in my corner that it was. I think it helped a lot. You know, a lot of people kept me in their prayers, and you know, I think you know that's what gave me the strength to like heal faster, get better faster.
And that's another thing too, bro. Like honestly, like you know, it's like it's what you went through is an experience. It's crazy. Like you know, like just the amount of things you went through in those 2-3 months is crazy.
Yeah.
So like when you were coming out or when you were getting back home, like better and get back home, and it's just like a thought of like, what C's are we gonna get here? Like, you know, like are we gonna get like a positive or like looking forward to thing type of thing, or like are we gonna like have to like kind of be patient with you and get you back to, you know, like where you were at and stuff. And honestly, since the moment that you've been good, bro, you've been like so strong and so positive and just so like this is how I look at it and this and that. And there was a time where I even said, I was like, bro, I'm so sorry you went through that or some shit like that. And you were like, don't be sorry, bro. Like we're still here, shit like that. And I was just like, holy shit. And like I admire that so much, man. And because it's easy to go the other way, you know.
Yeah.
It's really easy to go the other way. And the fact that you're like fuck it, I'm still here and this and this and that. It's just like, bro, it's strong, bro.
I feel like I got a second chance, bro. Yeah,
it's strong, and it's something that I respect and admire. And like, you know, God's good, man. Like God's good, and just glad that we can still share these moments and still record, and hopefully we have a lot more time here.
Yeah.
But like I said, God's good, and I'm just glad you're here, bro.
Yeah. And to everybody out there, you know, I hope you never have to experience this. I hope you never have to go through this. It is probably the worst. It you know, absolutely is the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. You know? And it's real. Like, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. You know, this isn't it's something that, you know, if you get it, yeah, maybe you could beat it in a couple of days, and I hope you can. I hope you get if you do get it, I hope you get the mild one. The mild one.
Yeah.
I hope you don't end up in the hospital or anything like that. But it's just horrible, man. Like, just being lonely, you feel so defenseless. You feel so vulnerable. The anxiety's bad, but like literally, like me getting out, you know, it was nothing but positivity. It's like, hey, like I made it. I did it. I'm finally home. Sleep in my own bed. Like, there was no reason to be upset anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it. That was my perspective, was like, I'm still here. You know, I survived it. I lived it. You know, there were times where, you know, no one knew if I was going to make it. And I did.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just crazy, man. It was a crazy experience. And I just want to thank everybody personally who reached out to me, and those of you who didn't but kept me in your prayers. Like, thank you. I know that had a lot to do with it. And, you know, the people who, it's crazy. One of my students' moms actually posted in a Facebook group, like a women's prayer group, like, you know, about me and things like that. And, you know, I like just people I didn't know.
Yeah,
were
just pulling for you.
Yeah, just pulling for me. You know, and I can't thank anybody, like everybody, enough.
Yeah,
was checking in on me and stuff. And right now, all I gotta do is get through my physical therapy, and I'm good.
We chilling, bro. We went to the beach in the summertime.
Heck yeah. Once I get through this physical therapy, like, you know, I'm back to 100%. You know,
I'll feel you.
But yeah, every day, like,
yo, that was from my drink. My bad.
No, you're good.
That was my throat.
No, every day,
tingle.
Every day I wake up.
Throat game good.
Throat game good.
Yeah.
Bro, you know.
Every day I wake
Not
up.
as strong as Cesar's, but
No, No, man. Every day I wake up and I'm not in the hospital, dude, I feel blessed.
Hell yeah, bro.
I feel very blessed.
Facts.
Yeah. But no, I definitely did miss you guys. This is the first time you guys have seen me.
This was the first time. And even before we pulled up, I was telling Marcos, like, dude, this is the first time we see Cesar in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And it was like crazy too, because like we went through a time where we weren't seeing each other, especially when you went to UCF and things like that. But over the past year and a half, we were seeing each other every week, every 2 weeks, you know? So it was just like, or past year. So it was just like, holy crap, to just out of nowhere, just that be cut.
Mm-hmm.
And you always been my dude. You always been my rock. So I was just like, for it to just be cut out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
this sucks.
Yeah.
And like, especially with the unknown, you know? So it was just like, damn, bro, like it's a big part of my life missing right now, you know? Because this podcast, us, like we've always been close and things like that, but it has brought us closer, has given us some beautiful nights and some beautiful like talks and things like that, you know?
Some good laughs and things.
Yeah, so it's just like, that was just kind of like gone.
This has always been our outlet, you know?
Yeah,
and
so it was
they didn't have a place to vent, you know, just to let things out.
Yeah,
that's what this always has been.
Yeah, and then especially like for me personally, like I don't know if this is gonna make this podcast, but this is just something else. But just for me personally, like when it comes to venting, when it comes to talking to someone, when it comes to like just letting it all out, I love everyone, but I feel the most comfortable with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it is, but it's just like that. So like in November and like December-ish, like I was going through some really dark times, and I didn't have you there, and like you've been there for like 10 years now, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it sucked because like most of the time when we do talk and vent and things like that, like, you know, obviously I feel better because I'm talking to you, but like the advice you give me back on that is amazing always, and it never fails. So I was just like, bro, like like I want Cesar back so bad. Like I just want to be out of the hospital and stuff. Obviously to know that you're good, but also because like you're my rock, man. Yeah. Like you're my rock when it comes to things like that. You're my rock, bro. Like you know everything about me, bro. Like everything you know about it. So I was just like, fuck, man. Like it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. And then you add the unknown to it, and it's like, oh shit, god damn. Like, so you definitely a big part, man. A big part of our lives, bro. And even the people that reach out, that are pulling for you that don't even know you, or people that pulling for you for 3-4 years, you haven't seen them, things like that. It's because of like who you are. It's because of your values and what you stand for. And like, you're a funny ass dude, bro. You're a light, you know, like when you walk into a room or things like that, like you're a ball of energy, you know? So it's like, we always need people like that in our lives, you know? And that's a big part that you play in our lives. So to not have that present, you feel it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why those people, even if they haven't seen you or haven't talked to you, just because life gets so hectic and things change and you're busy with your life, at the end of the day, if something happens to you, like they're still going to remember and they're still going to pull for you because at one point in time, you were that in their life. So,
dude, that was beautiful.
That's just how I see it.
that was fucking beautiful, man.
So, but no, yeah, man, like,
yeah, I mean, all my boys and you know all the people, like everybody knows that I have no problem being here for anybody. You know, anybody could reach out to me at any time for anything, and even if we haven't talked in 3 or 4 years, like, you know, I'm never gonna not reply to that message. I'm never not gonna like ignore that text or anything like that. Like it's always like, hey, you know, what's up? How you been? Things like that, and you know, you know, you gotta do good recklessly. You know, is how I live by it, and it's like do good recklessly. You know, is what what I've learned is just do your part to make, even it doesn't matter what the consequences are, if they're bad or anything, as long as you did something good, like that just puts out positive energy out there, things like that. But that, I'm glad to be back. Glad to be here.
Fox.
Glad to, that I made it. And, normally we'd end on a bombshell,
Well, that was a bombshell.
But, again, just take care of your loved ones, be excited that they're there. Call your mom, call your dad, call that person that you haven't talked to in a while, and just check up on them every once in a while. I know a lot of other things happened with our friends while I was out, and I feel like out of everything that happened, the worst didn't happen to me. Like the things that happened to me were bad, but some other bad things happened, and I just feel like I didn't get the worst of it. I'm still here. I'm still breathing, alive and being able to do what I could do. But, some other things happened to some of our other friends, and I feel worse for them than I ever did, for myself.
Yeah.
But on that bombshell, it is time for us to end. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Los Compadres podcast. We're back. We promise the next one won't be this heavy,
or just so much into
this deep. I really just wanted to, make sure everyone was aware, like, these things happen. And, if you're going through something similar to this, hit me up. I'll tell you anything you need to ask, all the questions you need to ask the nurses and the doctors to make sure that your loved one or you is getting the care that you need to be getting.
Yeah.
But check us out on YouTube. I'll be updating that later with some previous episodes that I haven't uploaded.
Yeah.
And check out our link dump where you could check us out on Spotify. There's links to our Spotify, Apple, and then also Axios clothing.
Yeah, we're gonna add that on there.
Make sure you check it out. Clothes is really comfortable. Designs are really cool. And honestly, it's I got my first shirt. I was gonna wear it, but I had to wash it. Haven't done laundry, but I got the blue one. The blue one with the picture of
the face
of the girl.
Yeah, of the girl.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't name drop her, huh?
But it's comfortable ass shirt.
Yeah, really comfortable, really nice. I'm waiting for my other 3 to come in, so it's chilling. But
thank you for listening.
Thank you guys for listening.
We'll be back next week.
See you next week.